Well, the whole war experience and the whole P.O.W. experience were quite an annealing, shaping process in my life. And I went in as maybe the biggest wimp ever from Brooklyn to the Army. And I came out a really changed person. And the person you see before you today was really sort of changed by that process. It is not a process I recommend for improving your stature and your status, but it can work that way. Yeah, we had been, when the Battle of the Bulge broke out, we were right on that front line and we took the brunt of the Brunstedt. And as a result of that, we ended up, it was the largest haul of American prisoners in one day the Germans had made during the war. And we took us eventually a 3-day walk and a 7-day, we were locked down a boxcar for 7 days and 7 nights with no food or water, getting to the prison camp. So we were pretty much depleted when we arrived there. All I wanted to do was get into whatever the building held. But we had to go through the German process of everybody being logged in. I drew an American prisoner of war who had preceded me in camp as the clerk, fortunately. These are convergences that have happened all through my life. And he said name, rank, serial number, and then he asked me my father's name, and I said, I'm not supposed to answer that. But anyway, I did, and his profession said, and then the question I never expected to hear was religion. Now I'm 19 years old, I'm standing in the snow, hungry and tired outside of the German prison camp, Nazi soldiers around. And I think it's because I had already surrendered once. I really didn't want to do it a second time. Whatever the motivation was, I looked at him and I said, Jewish. Now he looked at me and he said, Protestant. And I didn't know whether he had misheard me or not, so again I said, Jewish. And again he looked at me, he said Protestant, and dismissed me. I thought no further of it, went to the barracks, and then 2 weeks later the Hauptmann and his troops came through and took out everybody who had answered Jewish, looked Jewish, had a Jewish name. And they were shipped eventually, most of them, to a place called Berger where they were put in slave camps, and many of them didn't return. By virtue of that convergence, I ended up not going and ended up obviously coming home okay. But in the prison camp, it was an extraordinary experience because I found out at another critical point how to take back my own life from being just subservient and passive. And I did learn one extremely important lesson there, which is don't ever surrender, whatever the situation is. There's always a way of keeping yourself together and keeping charge of yourself inside, no matter what the circumstances.